Good morning, everyone. This is your Nilofer ma'am. I hope you all are fine at your homes and your study is going well. So, as you all know that we are doing the syllabus of internal assignment 3. Our subject is English grammar, and in today's video I will explain you lesson 8. Topic of the lesson is non-finite verbs. So till now we have discussed about verbs, we have discussed about types of verbs. Now in this topic we will discuss about finite and non-finite verbs. So let's get started to understand about finite and non-finite verbs. So first of all, let's see what are finite verbs. Let's see the definition. Finite verbs change their form according to the number and person of the subject and the tense of the verb. If the verb is being changed according to the number, according to the person of the subject and the tense of the verb, that time the verb is called finite verb. Means if we are changing the number from singular to plural and the verb is being changed according to it, if we are changing the subject from first person to second person and the verb is being changed according to it, and if we are changing the tense of the verb and according to it the form of the verb is being changed, that time the verb is finite verb. So now let's see the examples to understand it better. First example is my mother bakes delicious cake. So here the sentence is in simple present tense, and in simple present tense we use s or es with the first form of verb if the subject is singular. My mother is singular subject, that's why we have used s or es with the first form of verb. If at the place of my mother I will change the number of the subject, if I will write my mother's, if I will change the subject from singular to plural, that time bakes will become bake. Because with plural subject we do not use s or es with the first form of verb. So that time the verb is being changed according to the number. So that means bakes is finite verb. Second sentence is I bake delicious cake. And again you can see the sentence is in simple present tense, but only the person of the subject is being changed. Here I is used, and according to I have used bake here. We have not used s or es with the first form of verb. I bake delicious cake. Third sentence you can see my mother baked delicious cake. So this sentence is in simple past tense, and what we have done, we have changed the tense of the verb and we have made the sentence in simple past tense, and because of it bakes became baked. So that means baked is finite verb. So in all the sentences you can clearly see that the verbs are being changed according to the number of the subject, according to the person of the subject, according to the tense of the verb, and because of it they are finite verbs. Now let's move forward. So we have learned about finite verb. Now it's time to learn about non-finite verbs. So let's see the definition. Non-finite verbs do not change their form according to the number and person of the subject and tense of the verb. Means if the verb is not being changed according to the number, according to the person and according to the tense of the verb, that time it is called non-finite verbs. So now let's see the example to understand it better. First example is I want to play the piano. So here if I will change the subject from I to she, that time also to play will remain same. She want to play the piano, I want to play the piano, they want to play the piano. To play will not be changed according to any condition. Second example is I wanted to play the piano. So here I have changed the tense of the verb. Want became wanted here. I have changed the sentence from simple present to simple past tense. Then also to play will remain same. It is not being changed according to the tense of the verb. I wanted to play the piano. Third sentence is they want to play the piano. Here I have changed the person of the subject. I became they. So then also to play will remain same. They want to play the piano. So in all the sentences you can see that according to the number, person and tense of the verb, verbs are not being changed, and these types of verbs are called non-finite verbs. Now let's see the next topic. So till now we have learned the difference between finite verbs and non-finite verbs. Now it's the time to know the types of non-finite verbs. Let's see the types of non-finite verbs. So non-finite verbs are of three types, that is infinitives, participles and gerund. So what are infinitives? We can form infinitives by using to plus first form of verb. What are participles? Verb first form plus ing is called present participle. Third form of verb is called past participle, and having plus having been plus third form of verb are called perfect participle. Next type of non-finite verb is gerund, that is made from verb first form plus ing. So now I will explain you each type of non-finite verb thoroughly. So let's see. First type of non-finite verb is infinitives. So let's see the definition of infinitives. It is formed by to plus first form of verb. It functions as a noun in a sentence and acts as subject, object or complement of the verb. So infinitive is formed by using to plus first form of verb. When we use to before the first form of verb, it becomes infinitive. It functions as a noun in a sentence and also acts as subject, object or complement of the verb. Let's see the examples to understand it better. First example is I want to travel Hong Kong. So here what is infinitive? Infinitive is to travel and it is used as object because what I want to travel. So here it is used as the object of the verb. Second sentence is to travel to Hong Kong was my biggest wish. So here again to travel, it is used as subject here. To travel to Hong Kong was my biggest wish. Third sentence is the plan is to reach Kasol by 10 o'clock. So here it is used as complement of the verb. Here is written to reach. What is the plan? The plan is to reach Kasol by 10 o'clock. So here it is the complement of the verb. It is giving the meaning to the verb. Now let's move forward. So the next topic which we are going to discuss, that is bare infinitives, which is the another form of infinitives only. Let's see the definition. When an infinitive is used without to, it is called a bare infinitive. So when an infinitive is used without to, it is called a bare infinitive. We generally use the infinitive without to after these verbs. So some verbs are being given here with whom we use the infinitive without to, and the verbs are let, hear, watch, need and dare. So let's see the examples to understand it better. The first example is I heard him play a different piece on the violin. So here what is the infinitive? The infinitive is play, but to is not used here. I heard him play a different piece on the violin. Second example is we saw the boys fight over who got the bat first. So here what is the infinitive? The infinitive is fight. We saw the boys fight. We will saw the boys fight. We see the boys fight. So in any case fight will remain same. That means it is non-finite verb and it is a kind of infinitive, that is bare infinitive, because we have not used to before it. Now let's move forward to the next topic. So now we will discuss about some verbs which are followed by infinitives. We use to before the verbs like offer, promise, wish, hesitate, manage and refuse to form infinitives. When we have to form infinitives by using these verbs, so we use to before these verbs. Verbs like explain, agree, ask, choose, prepare, learn, fail, remember are often used with the infinitives. If we use the verbs with the infinitives, so mostly these verbs are used with the infinitives. Let's see the example. Revati wishes to learn a new language. To learn, it is infinitive and here the verb learn is being used. Second example is Samina hesitated to call us in the middle of the night. So what is the infinitive here? The infinitive is to call and the verb call is being used here. Now let's move forward to the next topic. So till now we have discussed about one type of non-finite verb, that was infinitive. Now we will discuss about participle, which is another type of non-finite verbs. So let's see what are participles. They are verbs which perform the function of an adjective in a sentence. There are three types of participles. So participles are verbs only, but they perform the function of adjective in a sentence. There are three types of participles which I have already told you, that is present participle, past participle and perfect participle. So here you can see the example of participle. Growing children need proper nourishment. So what is the participle here? The participle is growing, which is verb first form plus ing, and it is describing the noun, that is children. Because I have just now told you that participles are verbs, but they perform the function of adjective. And what is the function of adjective? The function of adjective is to describe a noun. So here growing is describing the noun, that is children. So just now I have already told you that what are the types of participle. Again I am telling you types of participles. First is present participle, which is verb first form plus ing, past participle, third form of verb, and perfect participle, that is having plus third form of verb and having been plus third form of verb. Now first of all we will discuss about present participle. So let's see. Present participle, it has the verb first form plus ing, which I have told you that verb first form plus ing is called present participle. So let's see the examples here. The diving board was broken. So I have told you that participles modify the noun, means they tell the quality of noun, they describe noun. So here what is the participle? The present participle is diving, because verb first form plus ing here it is, and it is modifying the noun, that is board. About which board we are talking? We are talking about the diving board. So that means here diving is functioning as an adjective. The diving board was broken. Second example, you can see the task was tiring for the participants. So here it is used as a subjective complement. What is the participle? The participle is tiring, tire plus ing, and it is subjective complement because it is telling more about the subject. The subject is task, and how was the task? The task was tiring. So here also it is modifying a noun, that is task. They are also used to form continuous tense of verbs. So when you have done the translations, so you can see that present participles are used in continuous form of tense. Example, you can see is writing, will have been, working. Now let's move forward to see the next type of participle. The next type of participle is past participle. So let's see, it has the third form of verb. So the third form of verb is called past participle. To understand it better, let's see the examples. The first example is the broken doll could not be repaired. So what is the participle? The participle is broken because it is the third form of break, broke, broken. And here it is describing a noun, that is doll, means it is functioning as an adjective. Second example, you can see the tired horse munched hay in its stable. So what is the past participle? Past participle is tired, and here it is describing the noun, which is horse. It is also used to form perfect tense of the verb. So when we form perfect tense of a verb, we use past participle. Examples you can see: had hoped, had eaten, would have remembered. Now let's move forward. Last type of participle is perfect participle. It has the form having plus third form of verb and having been plus third form of verb, which is called past participle form of the verb. Examples you can see: having understood her mistake, she agreed to apologize. So when we use perfect participle, we use perfect participle when we have to tell two sentences together. So the second sentence will be the outcome of the first sentence. Having understood her mistake, having plus third form of verb, which is perfect participle, means after understanding her mistake, she agreed to apologize. Second example, you can see: having been attacked by the robbers once, we are extra careful. So what is the perfect participle here? Having been plus third form of verb, that is having been attacked. And here also we are talking about the two sentences, that the second sentence is the outcome of the first one. Having been attacked by the robbers once, now we are extra careful. Now let's move forward to see the next topic. Now let's see the last type of non-finite verb, that is gerunds. Gerunds are verbs, verb first form plus ing, which perform the function of a noun in a sentence. So participles perform the function of adjective in a sentence, but gerunds perform the function of noun in a sentence. To understand it, let's see the examples. First example is: dancing can increase one's fitness. So first of all, I would like to tell you that a gerund can be used as a subject of the sentence, and as an object of the sentence, and as an object of the preposition also. So the example is dancing can increase one's fitness. Here what is the gerund? Gerund is dancing, verb first form plus ing, and it is used as subject of the sentence. Now let's see the second example, that is she likes swimming. What is gerund? Gerund is swimming, swim plus ing, and it is used as object of the sentence. She likes, what she likes? She likes swimming. That means it is object. Next example is the stuntman was paid for performing the action scenes. So here the gerund is performing, that is perform plus ing, and it is used as object of the preposition. What is the preposition? Preposition is for. The stuntman was paid for performing the action scenes. So here you can see that gerunds are used as subject of the sentence, object of the sentence, and object of the preposition also, and they are used as noun in a sentence. Now let's see the next topic. So here is a grammar tip which you can see. Watch out. Both gerunds and the present participle have the ing form. So we know now that gerund is verb first form plus ing and present participle is also verb first form plus ing. But how can we differentiate both of them? However, gerunds act as nouns while participles act as adjectives. So gerunds function as a noun in a sentence and participles function as adjectives in a sentence. You can see solving riddles is a good pastime. So here riddles is a noun and it is gerund because it is complementing the noun. Solving riddles is a good pastime. And second example is he tried to get up on the moving bus and fell down. So here it is used as present participle because it is qualifying the, because it is modifying the noun, that is bus. Which type of bus? Moving bus. He tried to get up on the moving bus and fell down. And that is the difference between gerund and present participle. Now let's move forward. So now let's see the last topic, which is related to non-finite verbs, that is replacing infinitive with gerunds. Yes, infinitive can be replaced with gerunds because they both are used as subject and object of the verb. And infinitive can be replaced by a gerund in a sentence without changing the meaning of the sentence. And if we replace an infinitive with the gerund, the meaning of the sentence would not be changed. See the example. To play with small children is relaxing. So here what is the subject? The subject is infinitive, to play, and at the place of to play with small children is relaxing, we can write playing with small children is relaxing. And we have used playing here, which is gerund. We have replaced the infinitive with gerund and the meaning of the sentence has not been changed. So these were finite verbs, non-finite verbs, types of non-finite verbs which I have explained you. I hope everything is clear to all of you. If still any confusion is there, so you can ask me on the WhatsApp also. I'll meet you in the another explanation video. Till that, keep learning, stay home, stay safe. Bye bye everyone.